sentinel to Brother Brown as he speaks to us on the theme, make wise use of the remaining time. All two different ones and ask how they've done. But what instead I decided to do was let you hear from one family of pioneers visiting your circuit this weekend. So I'm going to just sort of ask them some things that could be maybe helpful to us in seeing how we could work this out. So let me introduce you to this family. This is brother and sister Graham. Next to me, that's Larry Graham. That's his wife, Tina Graham. And that's their 4-year-old daughter, Latia Graham. And they're visiting your area this weekend from Los Angeles. Now, Brother Graham, tell us first now how long you and the wife have been in the pioneering work.
Well, we started pioneering when Latia was 7 months old, and she's 4.5 now.
So you sort of go as a family.
Yes.
Now, Sister Graham, what's your territory where you work?
Well, our territory is very unusual. We are in the West Hollywood congregation. And as a matter of fact, the mayor of West Hollywood is a lesbian. So we have a large gay community. And not only that, we also have the big, beautiful Beverly Hills homes where all the movie stars and the entertainers where they live. And then we also have one street that's called Santa Monica. It's where all the young boy male prostitutes, we call that Sodom Monica. That's just our little joke. And then we also have Melrose Avenue. We have a large punk rock territory, and that's where, you know, where they have the shaved hair on the sides, and the purple and the green hair. And then we have the Hollywood Hills also. That's the dog territory, yeah.
Well, that's like an interesting one.
I forgot. We also have a very large Jewish territory.
So you have variety. Like the Jack in the Box, you release it, you don't know what kind of cloud will jump on there. Well, so now let me ask this. Now we looked at that. We say that would be a kind of a tough territory. You've been pioneering it now, going on 4 years. Brother Graham, tell us now what motivated you to pioneer. Now you got the truth. Most of the friends know your musical background and all as a singer, but now you got the truth. You were in it. We want to know what moved you to pioneer and what adjustments you had to make.
Well, what encouraged us to pioneer is when our circuit overseer, Brother McGee, came around, the first talk, the first evening, immediately, you know when you hear something that's real good and you're hunching each other on the elbow, we was wearing each other's elbow out. And so we were convinced immediately that we should be in the full-time work. So immediately after that talk, we went up and filled out our applications, and we started to regular pioneer. But at that time, we thought that, well, this was absolutely the wrong time to pioneer. We had just taken over our own business. We had had a lot of people working for us in the office with the computers and all the employees and what have you. And we had tried to skinny down. And so we had started to take over the business ourselves. Latia was now in our life by choice. And then we said, well, this is absolutely the wrong time, because also to go to the next pioneer school, we would have to go retroactive, which I was already 120 hours behind to do that. So I figured this is absolutely the wrong time. But we did it anyway, and needless to say, we made our time with Jehovah Teller. But we had to make some adjustments also along the way, even after that, because we were pretty occupied with a lot of material things that we had gathered over the years, and we had to eventually sell our home. We thought that would be a good idea, and get rid of the gardeners and the pool man and the gate man and this and that and the maids and stuff, and so that was taking up a lot of time. And then when you have a lot of gadgets, you have to take time to use these things. If you have several cars, well, then you have to take time to drive these cars. So we decided to in harmony with the suggestions coming from the Faith and Sweet Slave to simplify, we started to sell these possessions and move into a smaller place. Well, with these adjustments, then we were able to not only devote more time to the ministry, but joyful time, because then we weren't scraping and scuffling for time. We became more relaxed. It became more joyful to, pioneer.
You had to change your lifestyle to get pioneering in.
Yes, we did. We had to make some severe changes.
So notice it took shedding of distractions, things that would take your time,
Yes.
that were not in themselves sinful, but you saw if you organized and you could then get into the full-time work. So you scaled down from where you were there on the Hollywood Hills.
Mm-hmm.
So what did you do then?
Well, we moved into a condominium, and so we wanted to see if this was the proper adjustment to make. And of course, still being in the music business to some degree, that wasn't quite it with the neighbors downstairs and upstairs on both sides, because I still do a lot of my writing and recording at home. So that wasn't quite the adjustment. So then we found another place that didn't have the attached walls, but still small enough to where it wouldn't take a lot of maintenance and everything around it would be taken care of, but we didn't have to do that. So with those adjustments, we found that, okay, this is it. This is comfortable for us, but still trying to keep everything small and simple so that we don't start devoting time to things again.
Now, Sister Graham, now tell us your schedule. We know that you have a certain degree of busyness in connection with the work, but what's your pioneer schedule like?
Well, our pioneer schedule actually starts Friday, and we go out and we meet at the Kingdom Hall, meet the group there, and then we go out into the territory and work. And then after that, we have Bible studies the rest of the day, so that's about a 10-hour day, which is Friday. Saturday, we have our book study at 9 that morning, which my husband conducts, and then we go out into the territory on the designated days, whether it's return visits. And then after that, we also have studies, and that's also a 10-hour day. And then Sunday, we have our public talk and watchtower. We have our public talk 9:30, and then we either go out and service or it's return visits, whatever the society designates for that day. And then after that, we learned in Pioneer School how important it is to spend quality time with our Bible students, because we're studying with them and we're telling them, okay, you have to leave that old worldly association. So what we do on Sundays is we replace that old association along with maybe having another family from the congregation come along too. So you have your study there, and what else is there to talk about but Jehovah, so that way you can also encourage them, and also you have field service time included.
Now tell us how you're doing with some of your studies. After we heard that territory you're working in, we're wondering, are you doing anything out there to help these people? They seem to need it quite a bit.
Well, so far, all of our studies, I think all of them, all of them are regular pioneering. We recently studied with Marvin Gaye's sister, Zilda Woodard, who married Marvin's ex-bodyguard. And we studied with them, and they progressed to the point of dedication and baptism. And when they were, as soon as they came out of the water, they were still wet, as a matter of fact. And went straight to the pioneer desk, filled out one application, regular auxiliary, and then also filled out the regular pioneer application and dated it 6 months later, which is when they were qualified to regular pioneer. So they immediately started into the full-time work. We studied with another young man who, the last time I saw him, we were in Hawaii playing the Creative Festival. There was about 80,000 people there. Some way he maneuvered his way up to the front. He saw the concert. Years passed. He comes to Los Angeles years later, and he decides he's going to start studying, because he had heard a little bit in Hawaii over the years. He walks into the Kingdom Hall, and he looks and he sees me conducting the Watchtower study, and he goes into the shop. And then after the meeting, we talked a while, and he wasn't quite sure it was me. But when I called on my wife to make a comment and said, Sister Graham, I said, that's him. And so we went on to our studies, and then he progressed to the point of dedication and baptism. He's also a regular pioneer. We studied with my person that plays drums with me. His name is Noah Clausen. That was his purpose for coming to Los Angeles, but the next day he was in the Kingdom Hall. We studied with him. He progressed to the dedication and baptism. He's a regular pioneer, and he's married to a regular pioneer. And studied Larry and Wilma Young, are regular pioneers. And we're just having a great time.
Sounds like you're doing all right out there. And they pick up your zeal for the ministry, and they want to pioneer as they see now that you're doing.
Yeah.
Well, now that's very good. We see that you're getting some results in this territory. Now, Sister Graham, what I wanted to ask you is, how has this impacted you and the family? We see there's a family arrangement. Some people would feel, well, I need to devote more time to the family, the children, and that's why I can't pioneer. So how has that impacted you?
Okay, when we got our first visit from our circuit overseer and we both decided we know that we must pioneer, we got a visit, or I got a visit from Sister Discouragement. And she came up to me because Latia was tiny. She said, She said, pioneering, no. That is not for little babies. But I said, well, no, I'm not going to let this discourage me. You know, I didn't really say too much to her because I didn't want to get into a confrontation. So anyway, I was encouraged by the circuit overseer's wife. She said, well, you know, this is not really true because when they train little ones to be like maybe in gymnastics, they start them out from very young so the little bones could be very flexible. So likewise, I could say that the Pioneer Service has been a tremendous help in her spirituality because she's always on Bible studies, always out in the field, and I really am very happy that we started pioneering when she was young.
So as you go, you train her right along. Well, let me try her out on a few things there. Latia Graham, let's see now how you're doing in your ministry. Would you like to say a few scriptures for the friends here from Washington? How about Psalm 83:18?
The people will know that you live in Jehovah, you are one of the most high over all the earth.
Very good. What about Revelation 21:4?
And he walked out, and his tears turned red. There will be no more. There no rain, no cloud, no pain anymore. The former things have passed away.
I gotta make this a little tougher. Revelation 14:1 and 2.
I saw look, the Lamb standing upon the throne, and with him 144,000, having his name and the name of his Father written on their foreheads.
You know the fruitages of the Spirit? Can you name them? We're all trying to work on them.
Love, joy, peace, long-suffering, kindness, goodness, faith, and self-control.
I think we have to agree you're taking time to give her training there. And do you enjoy the ministry with your parents each day?
Yes,
And what are you able to do as you go with them? Are you able to place any literature?
yes.
How do you do it?
Well, I give the people the magazine, tell them to make name and all that stuff. And my father told me to read in the scripture, and I read in the scripture. They're not interested, we just ask them, can we do a track? And when they say no, we'll just leave the door.
Right. Very wise. We certainly have to commend you on that. Now, Brother Graham, in summing up maybe, if you just comment on this, some of the brothers and sisters have felt that still the thing to do is to use this world to the full. Some of the young people are still career-minded, trying to move to universities and colleges and get that training. Others are looking at their talents as a gymnast or musician or what and reaching out there. We look at your life, you've been on both sides. So what would you tell us then?
Well, first of all, I'd like to say that having had all those things, in fact, before I came into the truth, I had accumulated quite a few things because that was my God. Music was my God. And so trying to be successful at that was the most important thing to me. And of course, the more things you accumulate, then the more you appear to be successful. And that seems to be the number one thing. Have a number one record, at least in the top 10. So you go through all kinds of sacrifices and practicing and staying on the road to try to acquire these things. But having had all these things, I can honestly say that that's not it. Happiness does not come from the things that we possess. And I found that out as soon as I found out about the truth. And found it out even more so when I started to unburden myself from all these things. So to take time in these last days to try to pursue some kind of career in this world would be a foolish mistake. We're in the last of the last days. It's obvious when we see all the things going on around us that this system is just about over. It's had it. And Jehovah's getting ready to wipe it out. So to take your last precious hours and spend it selfishly trying to gain material things in the system, when Jehovah says in the new system he's going to open his hand and satisfy the desire of every living thing, it'd be foolish to chase after these things now. And you think about how easy Jehovah has made it for us to pioneer. If it were a tremendous amount of hours, then we could say, well, okay, I can understand why I can't do it. But we can think long ago it used to be many hours to pioneer, where now it's only 1,000 hours a year, 84 hours a month, or just 2 hours and 44 minutes a day, or hour and 23 minutes in the AM, hour and 22 in the PM. Any way you look at it, Jehovah's made it so simple for us that we can do it. Even if you were to just set aside 25 hours a week, you could still take 12 hours vacation, 12 weeks vacation for yourself. Either way you set up your schedule is so simple in these last days that if we can't do it, then we really have to examine ourselves and really go to Jehovah and tell him why we can't pioneer, explain our special circumstances to him, because we have to keep in mind that we have crippled people, deaf people, blind people, people with large families that are regular pioneers. So really, do we have an excuse? If we do, Jehovah will understand. But if we don't, we may be in for a big surprise when this system comes to an end.
Well, thank you for sharing those thoughts with us. Now, let's don't let him be one in a million doing that. Let's have good examples like that motivate us all to keep on the watch, prove ourselves ready, and thus make wise use of the remaining time.